What's good, Denver? It's Shellie Martinez, your host of Chopping It Up with Shellie at Hollywoods Barbershop.
This is the barbershop. Barbershop. This is the barbershop. The place where a black man means so.
What's good, Denver? It's Chopping Up with Shellie over here at Hollywoods Barbershop. I have Neil Magny over here, MMA martial art professional for the UFC. What's up, Neil?
Hey, let's go.
So let's start off. Where did you start off at? Like, what got you into martial arts?
So I literally just like fell into it. So in high school, I did football, I did wrestling, I did track. In my junior year, going to my senior year, our football coach got us hooked up with a local gym to just kind of like lift weights and kind of do that thing during the summer. And at the time, there was a local fighter named Miguel Torres who was renting like studio space from the gym to run his martial arts program. And at first, I was kind of looking over, like, man, what are those guys over there doing? And I just kind of like got more and more intrigued by it. So finally, just like, all right, screw, I'm gonna go over there and like ask them what they're doing and try to jump in. So I went over there and introduced myself, asked them what they were doing, and see if I can like jump in and try it out or whatever. And the very first session, he just kind of like threw me a pair of gloves, like, all right, cool, let's see what you're about. He just like literally just like threw a pair of gloves at me, like, and we just like tried sparring. I never threw an actual like sanctioned punch in my life or anything like that, but he just threw the gloves at me. So like, all right, let's see what it's about. And I remember he literally threw a jab that chipped my tooth, which I still have to this day. And I was just kind of like, this is weird, but in a weird way, I actually like it. I want to keep doing it. And I kind of just stuck with it ever since. So I did it my senior year of high school, through my time in the military up until now. So like, I'm telling my age, for the last 16 years now, I've been like actively pursuing martial arts and that kind of thing. And been with the UFC for going on 10 years now. So I've just been doing it ever since.
At what point did you realize that this was a career? This could be a career for you?
So at first it was just kind of like something that I enjoyed. Like, you know what I mean? You'll see it on TV, you'll see the DVDs at the time, you see all that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, that looks kind of fun. But then like as I started doing it more and more and getting good at it, I was like, man, I'm actually doing well against some of these guys who've been doing a lot longer than I have. And then when I went off to college, I was fortunate enough to be around a gym that had a bunch of professional fighters there. So I started training with those guys. And once I started beating the pro guys as an amateur, I was like, oh, I can make a run for this. Like, I'm beating some of the guys that are at the highest level right now in the gym. And if I'm doing well against those guys, I can actually make a career out of this probably. So I just ran with it from there.
Wow, and you're like top 10 fighter in the world, is that right?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Feels pretty cool at times until you realize that it makes it a little more difficult. So like at first, I enjoy fighting because it's like just kind of a passion of mine. But then like when you do it for a while, it becomes like your actual like career as well, and the way you earn a living. So like when you get to the point that you're top 10 in the world and everything else like that, it kind of like your passion and your like livelihood kind of compete with one another. I get to the point where it's like I have to fight to provide for my family, but I also want to fight because I enjoy it. So like those two things constantly battle back and forth with each other right now. And once you're like ranked in that top 10, top 5 of the world kind of thing, it makes it a lot more difficult because it becomes selective at that point. So for the UFC, I was one of 3 guys to actually five times in 1 year and win all those fights. And then I turned around the following year and had 5 fights again and went 4-1 that year. And no other fighter has done that before. For me, it was all about the passion of it. I just enjoyed it that much. But now that I'm ranked and that kind of thing, I don't get those opportunities to go out there and do what I love as often. Now I fight maybe twice a year, if that. Like, you know what I mean? A good year would be 3 fights a year. But like again, like my passion is conflicting with where I'm at right now. It's like I would rather not be ranked and do what I love more. But being ranked allows more opportunity to provide for my family. So it's kind of a catch-22 type thing.
And you're in the welterweight division?
Welterweight division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it hard to maintain that?
For me, not really. I mean, I've competed at 170 pounds since I was in high school. I literally wrestled 171 in high school, wrestled 165 in college, and been competing at 170 pounds pretty much since I was 14 years old. So now at this point in my life, it's not really too difficult. Like, when it comes to my diet, it's more so just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take away the bacon, take away this, and it's easy to make the weight. So it's not like a hard, difficult diet that I have to maintain. Like my diet more so consists of like eating the right things to have the energy to train. Because like there's sometimes I'm training like 3-4 times a day, and I'm driving all over town to do it. So I'm also eating a bunch of calories just to like have the energy to make all those workouts at this point.
And what kind of how extensive is your training at this point compared to what it was when you first were starting out?
So I never slowed down a bit. Like even now that I've been in UFC at the highest level for like the last 10 years now, you would think just because of age, injuries, and that kind of thing, you would slow down a bit. But I'm still able to push against the young guys. I mean, for me, it's like it's kind of like a joy at this point. It's like, all right, cool, bring the young guys in. Let me see where I stand with them. So being in my 30s, going against a 20-year-old kid, I'm just like, cool, I still got it. I'm not slowing down at all. I can still do the multiple training sessions a week. I can still do the multiple sparring sessions per week. I still do all that stuff and not slow up a bit. So the first week is going to do that.
So your training, is it usually consist of just sparring, or is it like calisthenics or cardio?
No, it's just a wide variety of things. So it's pretty much broken out into 3 different like main disciplines that I train. So I have to do wrestling, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu. It's like a grappling martial arts. In addition to that, I still have to do my weight training and running as well. So I'm doing weight training or sports conditioning or sports specific conditioning 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. In addition to that, I'm wrestling 3 times a week, sparring twice a week, doing jiu-jitsu 4 times a week, and that kind of thing. So it's more so just trying to like balance the different workouts, so I'm not going to the next workout already burnt out. Like if I had a hard sparring session, I won't be able to do a hard wrestling session later that night either. So it's more so like, all right, I'm gonna do a hard sparring session tonight and do like a hard training session as far as like weights go at night, so I'm not like conflicting with the two where I'm just like burnt out by Tuesday.
What kind of mind frame do you have to put yourself in, or and also what gets you into that mind frame before a fight?
For me, it's just the love of competing. Like I hear a lot of MMA fighters and different guys say like, oh, it's just the violence gets me going and that kind of thing. That doesn't excite me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been pretty fortunate that like through fighting, I've got to like improve my life and get away from a lot of things that I was exposed to when I was younger. So I cherish that up to me. So for me, like the violence and like the crazy, like, yeah, I need to go knock somebody's head off. That doesn't excite me. The competition aspect of it is what excites me the most. Like I can remember one time fighting in New Zealand, and me and the guy I'm getting ready to fight were pulled backstage to go take our drug test. And I'm back there waiting to go pee in the cup and do my thing. And I'm looking over at my opponent, and he's like laying there just like completely dehydrated, just laying there, like just exhausted. I'm like, man, that's kind of weird. So even though I'm about to go fight this guy, and this guy is trying to go out there and knock me out, I'm like, I want to fight him at his best. So I went out of my way to go get him some Gatorade, go give him some water, and give that to him so he can hydrate before we fought. And every other fighter I tell that to, they're just like, wait, what? Like, you're getting ready to fight this guy, and you're trying to make sure that he's like in the best possible condition possible before you guys fight? That makes no sense at all. But for me, that's what it's about. It's the competition aspect of it. I need to know that I can compete against the best guys in the world and do my best against them.
Mm-hmm. And I know, like when you get ready to compete, you know, you have to drop your water weight and things like that. And I mean, does that give you like a good amount of endurance? I mean, when you do that and you have to weigh in, I mean, you know, can you bounce back pretty fast?
For me, yeah, because I end up not having to cut that much weight. Like, so typically a fighter will be roughly like the goal is to be 10% above your fight weight. So for me, if I were to fight at 170 pounds, 10% of my fight would be roughly around 185, 184 or so. So from a week out from a fight, I ideally want to be about 184 pounds, and then from there I can like dehydrate myself to make the 170 pound limit, and then rehydrate and go into the fight weighing about 185, 186 again. But for me, it's not that big of a deal. I walk around that weight anyway, so it's not a drastic change to try to get down the weight. Like I was saying earlier, it's like it literally cut 2-3 things on my diet and I'm making weight. Like I have to like literally eat to like keep weight on. So for me, the maintaining the weight or dropping the weight part is not difficult at all.
And what about your recovery time? How's that?
That's the part that's definitely getting harder and harder as I get older. I mean, when I was younger, I can remember like going to a fight, having a brutal fight, me right back in training that Monday. Now it's like it's not as easy to get back to it. I mean, just with age and things like that, it takes a lot longer for your body to recover. So like now after a training session, I'm having to do like a lot more things to recover. Like I never needed a massage when I was younger. I just like like, oh, my leg's sore, whatever, just rub it out and be okay. But now it's like I have to schedule a massage once a week, a chiropractic appointment once a week, muscle activation once a week. I have to go do physical therapy once a week. So as much as I'm training, I'm gonna have to like incorporate some recovery with that as well.
Wow. And what is like the oldest? Like what's too old in MMA, UFC?
So it varies on the individual, to be honest. Like there's guys that are like right now. I think the guy that holds the light heavyweight championship for UFC is like 42 years old, and he just won it within like the last 6 months or so, and he looks the best that he's ever looked. You have other guys who tend to fall off around like late 30s, early 40s, where they're just not doing their best kind of thing. But it all comes down to how well the athlete takes care of his body. I mean, like I was saying, like as you get not older, but as you get more ranked, you're not fighting as often. And when you're not fighting as often, a lot of fighters are less like motivated to be in the gym. It's like, well, I'm not going to train every day if I'm not going to fight. I might as well wait till I get a fight, do a training camp, fight, and then go take another 3, 6, 4, whatever months off before the next one. So like depending on what they're doing, that downtime affects how long they ever do it, in my opinion. So if you have a guy who's like, I'm going to fight twice a year and the rest of the year I'm just going to like party, do whatever I want to do, and everything else like that. And I think that takes off the longevity of his career personally, but every guy is different.
How many fights do you put out a year?
On average, it's about 3. The most I had in 1 year was 5. The least amount I had in a year is 2.
And you're worldwide, right?
Yeah, all over the place. I've been fortunate to fight in New Zealand, Australia, in Asia, in Mexico, in Argentina, like just literally all over the world I've been able to fight, and I've been pretty fortunate about that.
Wow. So how old are you right now?
34.
34. So where do you see your career in the next, let's say, 5 or 6 years then? When, let's say you reach like 40 level. 40 years old.
Realistically, like the biggest goal for myself, like I said, I love what I do for work. Like, you know what I mean? Like even when I retire, I'm still gonna be around the gym, training, competing against like my peers and that kind of thing. But like just being honest and looking at like people who have done it before. For your early 40s is the cutoff point where guys are able to like put their maximum output. And like me loving to compete so much, when I'm not competitive enough, I don't want to keep doing it. I know I've seen other fighters who like has fought past their prime and they're no longer competitive, and I don't want to be that guy. I want to retire my own terms rather than be retold. For me, being retold is at the point where it's like when your wife, your friends, your coaches are like, hey man, I don't think you should fight anymore. At that point, you did it too long.
So how long have you been here? Are you in Arvada?
I'm over in Lakewood now.
In Lakewood. How long have you been in Denver? Or
Lakewood? Denver area for roughly going on 10 years now. So I in 2012, I did a TV Ultimate Fighter, and the coaches that were on the TV show were all from Denver. So at the end of filming, he kind of invited me out to train and that kind of thing. But at the time I was only 24, so I was just like, you know what, I need to switch things up. I need to try a different gym. I need to get more coaches and that kind of stuff. So I literally just packed in my car and just moved out to Colorado like within like 2 days of filming. I was like, I'm moving out west. I like literally drive my stuff out to the street that I didn't need and just like kind of let whoever take it. Have my friends come over, like whatever you want, go ahead and take. If you don't take it, it's going in the trash kind of thing. So I just kind of loaded up my car what I can take and just headed out west.
So do you feel like this is you're putting roots down here, or do you think you'll move somewhere else eventually?
I think I'll be here for a while. I mean, like I've been fortunate to be in Denver for the last 10 years and actually build a lot of things outside of fighting. I've been able to build a pretty good real estate portfolio, build a business outside of fighting and that kind of stuff. So even when I'm done fighting, I think I'll still stick around for Colorado for a bit.
And so I was looking on ESPN. You know, what kind of stats do you have right now?
They're all over the place.
Are they? Because I was like scrolling. I mean, you have so many more wins than you do losses. Like maybe you could count the losses maybe on your fingers, you know. But and majority of them, like you've been in like hundreds of fights.
Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about it. I mean, like right now I'm one fight away from tying the UFC record for most wins in the welterweight division. Wow. I think I'm third for like the most takedowns in UFC history. I think I had like the most significant strikes landed on the ground in UFC for welterweights. Like just all types of like stats that you pick up over the years for like just longevity and durability, like being able to do this as often as I have, and just being able to compete as long as I have been competing at this point. I mean, a typical career in the UFC doesn't last a decade, like, you know what I mean? Like, we see guys come and go over the years, so to be here for 10 years at the top like I've been doing, it's something that, like, I'm happy about. I'm excited to see how far I can take it.
Yeah, I could totally see you being a really great coach too, like, outside of your fighting career.
That's a tough one for me because, like, especially now, it's like I expect the guys that I try to give attention to act like I would to a certain extent. So, like, if a young fighter comes out and says, like, "Hey man, can you help me work on this?" and I tell them, like, "Yeah, dude, meet me at this place at 3:00, whatever," and they give me an excuse why they can't be there at 3:00, I don't want to work with that person. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, someone who wants to do this is gonna make excuses for everything else in order to be in the gym training, trying to get better. So as soon as someone makes an excuse for them not to be at training and be somewhere else, like, they just lose interest, or I lose interest in them and don't really pour into them. So for me to coach, it's a real selective group of guys that I choose, or girls that I choose to work with.
Wow. And where did the Haitian Sensation come from?
So for the longest time, I never used the nickname. And then, like, most recently, so I go to Haiti probably 2-3 times a year, with a group called Mission 111. And they do several different things there. So they have an orphanage, they have a group home that they run, they have all types of things that they do. And I noticed that with the kids that are like, I want to say 13 to like 18, young adult age or whatever, it's a lot more difficult for them to get the attention that the younger kids get. Like, if you go to a foreign country and you see a young child, like, "Oh my God, this toddler is so cute, it's so adorable," but then you see like an adolescent teenager, you're kind of like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And you don't give them as much attention as you do to a young kid. So one of the trips I went to Haiti, I remember speaking Creole there, and one of the kids kind of looking back like, "Wait, what? You speak Creole?" I'm like, "Yeah, my mom's Haitian. Like, this is where my mother's from." And he was like really surprised. He's like, "Wait, someone who comes from this country can actually live in the U.S. and do what you're doing, and it's like normal. Like, it's not like something that's out of the ordinary." And like, "Yeah, man. Like, what? Like." Why not? And like, seeing how surprised he was and seeing how excited he was to see a Haitian person like be in the position I was in, kind of motivated me to kind of like touch as many kids like that as possible, as far as like giving them opportunity to dream for something bigger than them. Like, it's easy to kind of like see your situation and be stuck there, but like seeing a possibility of doing something more is super motivating. So like, I don't necessarily expect those kids in Haiti to like grow up and like want to be fighters, but like see something more of yourself than just what you're used to. If you want to go be an engineer, believe that you can be an engineer. If you want to be the best carpenter in your community, go be the best carpenter in your community. Like, just like see yourself as doing something more and then go for it. So for me, choosing the nickname Haitian Sensation was to kind of like inspire and motivate that young kid wherever he may or may not be, to kind of see someone who looks like him, comes from where he comes from, at the best possible place in life, and say, "Man, if he can be up there, I can be wherever I want to be as well."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very good advice. When is your next fight?
It's like the $1 million question right now.
Oh, really?
Like,
Everybody wants to see more.
I've been harassing UFC nonstop to get a fight, but the downside is, like, once you get ranked at a particular level in UFC, your fights become a lot more selective. Then you have like the number 5 guy say like, I don't want to fight the number 7 guy, I want to fight the number 4 guy instead. You have the number 10 guy say like, I don't want to fight number 7, I want to fight number 5. So like, there's all these like different politics and like picking and choosing of opponents that happens when you're like in that like top 10, top 5 of the division right now. So that's the boat that I'm finding myself in now, is just like kind of waiting for the right opportunity opponent to present itself for me to jump on.
Okay. And then also you said you're in real estate?
Yeah.
That's great. So what part of real estate are you in?
So right now, most of the properties I have, I pretty much just bought them, fixed them up, and rented them out. I own 6 properties now. And it's just kind of like something that like my grandmother actually got me involved in when I was really, really young. And when I was able to get the means of like investing in real estate, I definitely jumped into it. But going further on, this one kind of dive into it a lot more. Like I said, like at 34, I had 6, 7, maybe 8 years max left in this career. If I can retire from fighting and actually have a pretty good real estate portfolio set up where I don't necessarily have to worry about what my next career or job opportunity to be outside of fighting, that's what I want to set myself up with. And I feel like real estate is a great way of doing so.
That's That's great. And you have a family. You're married, and you have a. Is that right? You have a child that's 2.
Yeah, my son's actually turning 2 on Friday.
Great. Do you fight with him yet, or are you teaching him?
It's weird because like I've never physically told him like, hey, this is how you throw a punch, but like he literally comes up to me at times with his hands. I'm like, come on, and I was like, where did you get this from? I never told you this is how you throw a punch or anything like that. But he somehow saw it and gravitated towards it.
Oh, that's great. And you have one on the way. Is that right?
Yeah, second baby on the way. I'm hoping it's a she. She'll be here in June.
Oh, that's great. So I'm assuming that you're going to have to be staying, in the gym training and stuff until you actually land a fight, correct?
Yeah, I mean at this point
It's
it's
part
like
of your daily routine.
yeah, it's dead routine. I'm just training for the opportunity, not necessarily the opponent. Like if I'm in shape, ready to go, and the right opportunity presents itself, I'm jumping on it. Like I've taken fights on as little as 7 days notice, where it's like, hey, we had someone get injured, we need someone to fill in. I'm like, cool, I'll do it.
Oh, that's great. You gotta stay in shape at all times.
Yeah, so for me, it's more so being able to take advantage of the opportunity, more so than like worrying about a particular opponent. Like for me, it's going to be the same. Whether I fight the number 5 guy, number 2 guy, my goal is to be a UFC champion. So I'll do whatever it takes to get myself closer to that.
Wow. And what gym are you training out of right now?
So I train with Elevation Fight Team. We're based out of High Altitude Martial Arts over in Aurora.
Nice. Shout out to them. Good.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at if they want to follow you?
So I'm on all social media platforms at Magny _170, and pretty much that's where you can find me.
And if you need the homies to roll up, we can call you.
Yeah, I got you. Tony cameras up, I got you.
That's great. And then one last thing. What does since we're here at the barbershop, what does the barbershop mean to you?
For me, it's a great opportunity just to like connect with people. Like every once in a while, you just need to be able to sit back and just be like, man, that's when to unwind. That's when to like say what's on my chest and get it off, and then go about my day, or whatever. And I feel like a barbershop kind of gives you an opportunity. Like you sit in someone's chair and you're just like, man, dude, like let me talk about this week. So it was a rough one. And kind of get off your chest and like, cool, you get the haircut, you're looking good, you're feeling good. It's like, all right, I'm ready to go take on life right now. But you're not carrying that extra baggage that you walked into the barbershop with when you leave out.
You feel good, like you say, when you walk out, looking good, feeling better, So
Yeah.
I'm glad we could do that for you, and it's been a pleasure having you in my barber chair so far. So I hope you continue to keep on your lock journey.
Yeah.
It is challenging.
For sure. I definitely didn't think it'd be that bad, but like it's definitely been a pretty good challenge so far.
And it really will get better as it goes. So
For sure.
I appreciate it. Well, it's really great having you on the show, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Oh, no problem. Thank you
All
for
right.
the opportunity.
Hey, Denver, and one more time, tell us where we can find you.
Magny _170 on all social media platforms.
Great. All right, Denver. We'll